It's been a while since I've done an article, so I thought let's do this one by Kurt Schlichter, because he always writes funny stuff called Here Comes the Democrat Rout. And can we take a moment to appreciate this picture? Because everyone in it looks photoshopped from somewhere else. The last looks to be listening to someone profound, so it can't be Biden or sincere. Fetterman next to her looks like Shrek in a suit and Biden's mentally debilitated bodyguard, like Lenny from Of Mice and Men, only with worse grammar. Biden looks like every photo where they tried to make him look younger with aviators, despite the fact that he has more wrinkles in his hands than Nancy Pelosi's face, and he looks like a stuffed taxidermy with shades on, and the dude on the right looks like generic office worker number 3857. But anyway, to the article. Students of military history understand that the real bloodletting starts when the losing side breaks ranks after its formations disintegrate and the cavalry sweeps in to mow down the fleeing survivors. It's every man for himself, and the best the defeated individuals who were once part of cohesive units can hope for is not to end up one of the bodies left strewn across the battlefield. This is when the victor runs up the score. This is when the vast majority of casualties happen. This is a rout. And that's pretty much where the Democrats are headed on November the 8th. Figuratively, of course. That's a shame. Get the cannons. For the stupid people, we Republicans are the cavalry. For the really stupid people, cavalry is a highly mobile fighting force, in ancient times mounted on horseback, wielding lances, sabers, and sometimes bows or carbines. In the US Army, cavalrymen have given up their steeds but still wear bitchin' headgear. Those of us who have been through a few midterm election cycles understood how this was going to play all along. The fundamentals favor the out-of-power party. Here, the fundamentals broke into a pharmacy and stole all the steroids because the gross incompetence of Grandpa Badfinger has combined with the wine-woman globalist joint ideology that demands that the ruling caste make the normal suffer for their sin of not being in the ruling caste. These factors come together to make this election an inevitable Democrat disaster. This is how it happens for the losing party. In the spring, there are rumors and hushed whispers among the cognoscenti about the coming of a wave. There is fear. This is used to stoke the donors into handing over more of their dollars to help stave off disaster. Then, in the dog days of August, there arises hope. Maybe, just maybe, it will not be a disaster. Perhaps we will defy history and not lose many seats. Maybe we will even gain. Take that, fundamentals! And then Labor Day happens and people begin to pay attention, and the hope that was so hopeful at the end of the summer begins to dissipate. For a few weeks until about mid-October, they tell themselves that nothing has changed since summer, that hope is alive, and there will be no wave. And in mid-October, the signs become impossible to ignore. The money dries up for the losing party, while the smart money flows to the winning one. Polls start changing, first one, then two, then all of them, all in one direction. We hear of the losing side making tough calls to abandon the weak and try and save a few of the less weak. Nothing goes right. Gaffes, mistakes, the occasional sex scandal. You can feel the gloom setting in. The cheerleaders begin hedging their predictions. When the Democrats are the losers, like in this cycle, the regime media begins walking back its official optimism to avoid total humiliation, when the narrative it's been pushing for the last 6 months turns to ashes. Then the ranks break. The solid front shatters. The rout begins. We're almost there. We're almost to the point of Democrat collapse. The fundamentals of history were always against the Dems, but Shower Daddy's reign of error supercharged them. Inflation, perversion, open borders, criminals running wild, the threat of nuclear war. These factors all intensified the Dems' already daunting challenges. And then last week, in a stroke of timing genius, the Biden CDC decided to effectively mandate the kids have to take the NOD the CDC lied to us about. Way to remind everyone about the coof while infuriating moms who prefer their kids' hearts not explode from the NOD that won't prevent a disease that won't kill them. Any GOP politician not pounding on injection fascism is committing political malpractice. In the spring, they dreamed that the Dobbs decision, which made it slightly less convenient for some women in some red states to kill their babies, would negate the fundamentals of history and $6 petrol. But it turns out the people into infanticide was already solidly in the commie corner. They may cast votes angrily, but a mad vote counts just as much as a happy one, except in a Democratic blue city, but I digress. In the meantime, record numbers of Latinx people are choosing to vote against the people who call them Latinx, and black men especially are moving right in numbers that must terrify the Dems. The traditional sign of a rout is when the losing party turns on itself and its platform. You see polls criticize the members of their party in power, and even tell voters they will not go along with its treasured policies. We see inklings of this in how most Democrats will not allow the Biden and Kamala circus to stop in their towns. It's remarkable how all these candidates discover something really important to do when their president shows up in their state besides be seen with them. One rare exception was when Fetterman's wife, Fetterman's lump, allowed itself to be photographed with the crusty president. In typical Biden fashion, he helpfully told the world that he thought Fetterman's wife would make a great addition to the Senate. Rumor has it that Fetterman's lump was so insulted by the slight that it will be voting for Dr. Oz. The Save Yourselves phase will be starting soon, but the Democrats have a real problem they did not face in the past. At one time, they had some ideological flexibility. They could pretend they were not as left as they were to save themselves by peeling off enough gullible independents to survive, and their base would see the wink and tolerate the blasphemy of convenience. But not now. No, Democrat ideology has become a pagan religion where it was once merely a way to get power. Most candidates cannot back off from the stupidest Democratic policy planks even at the cost of their electoral lives. They cannot demand more drilling to get gas and oil prices down because this is heresy towards the angry Mother Gaia. They cannot support the cops because that's racist. They cannot come out against perverts in women's faces waving their drunken toddlers' faces at family-friendly drag shows because pedo shaming is a no-go for libs. They're locked into insanity. They cannot run, they cannot hide. They must figuratively die with their Birkenstocks on. Cool. The over and under is 30 seats in the House and 52 in the Senate, and my money is on the over. Gary Owen Troopers, charge! And that is all for today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.